Shelter Incorporated is a boutique manufacturer of high-end moving coil cartridges from Japan. Shelter was founded by Yasuo Ozawa in 1986, and to this day, all cartridges made by Shelter are personally inspected and quality assured by Ozawa himself. Shelter Inc. only makes moving coil cartridges and a step-up transformer. The brand name was coined by the company hoping that analog record lovers world over will find shelter in their products for exceptional analog performance. The cartridge I'm reviewing today is called the Harmony, and it's their top-of-the-line flagship model. The Harmony currently retails for $4,900 US. It has an output voltage of 0.5 millivolts. The internal windings are made of oxygen-free copper wire. The internal impedance is specified at 15 ohms. The specified vertical tracking force ranges anywhere from 1.4 to 2.2 grams. I set the VTF at 2.2 grams. The cantilever is aluminum. The stylus tip is diamond and is of the line contact type. The cartridge weighs 8.5 grams. The material and construction of the body is what makes the Harmony stand out. It uses layers of a material called carbon fiber reinforced polymer, or CFRP for short, which possesses extremely high strength to weight ratio, and this material is quite extensively used in the shipbuilding and aviation industries. This carbon fiber reinforced polymer, when molded into the shape and manufactured the way Shelter does, has a resonant frequency that is far outside the audible range, and this provides a high degree of internal damping along with exceptional isolation characteristics that protects the body from picking up external vibrations. This design feature ensures that the Harmony cartridge does not pick up any external input in the form of vibration other than the information being picked up by the stylus. Now, a little bit about my setup. I use the Shelter Harmony on my Rega P10 turntable. The P10 uses the RB3000 tone arm, which has an effective mass of 11 grams. The combination of the moderate mass tone arm and the lowish, stiffer compliance of the Harmony with its slightly heavier cartridge mass at 8.5 grams made this a good combination. The Harmony cartridge required VTA adjustment, in my opinion, and I used a 3mm spacer. Overhang and alignment was done using a Dr. Fikert protractor. I also used the supplied polycarbonate mounting screws and nuts. This prevents damaging the delicate carbon fiber top plate of the cart. But if you need to add more mass to the cartridge for your setup, you can use brass screws and nuts, but please ensure you don't over tighten and damage the top of the carbon fiber plate of the cartridge. Also supplied in the box is a carbon fiber disc that Shelter recommends you place over your record spindle and under your record weight or clamp. I did not use a record weight or clamp with my Planar 10, so I have not used this disc. The rest of my setup, phono stage, is the Parasound JC3 Plus, Musical Fidelity M6 preamplifier, Chord Electronics T-Toby power amplifier. I used a few speakers in my stable as well, namely the Acoustic Energy Coriniums, the ProAC K1 speakers, and my 4-pi speakers. If you've seen my previous Rega Planar 10 videos, you'll know that I love the Koetsu Black moving coil cartridge. With the Koetsu Black, I used a setting of 100 ohms on my phono stage. On the Shelter, I started off with a setting of 150 ohms, but ended up loading it at 400 ohms. So let's talk a little bit about my opinion on the sound quality of the Shelter Harmony cartridge in my system, since I've had this in my system for about 7 months now, and how it compares to my reference, the Koetsu Black. First impression is that when you drop the stylus into the groove of a clean record, there is almost no noise, just no surface noise, and the music emerges from complete blackness. I want to start with an album that is fun to play loud. This is Axis Bold as Love by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Tracks like Up from the Skies, Spanish Castle Magic have so much energy. The harmony cartridge brings so much detail across the spectrum, but specifically in the mid-range and in the high frequencies from Jimi Hendrix guitar riffs and the dynamic impact and textures from the kick drum and the snare drum are showcased nicely. The harmony definitely has more detail and brings forth more nuances than the Koetsu Black. The bass at first seemed a tad bit less on the harmony, but on extended listening, it became clear that there was more detail, more snap and attack, and less roundness in the bass. On the track Little Wing, this detail extraction capability became very quickly apparent on instruments like the kick drum. Also, in the high frequencies, the detail from the bell-like sound of the glockenspiel was three-dimensional, beautiful tone, and very clear rendition of harmonics and the trailing of the bell sound. That tactile physicality of metal-on-metal solidity is very realistic sounding and frankly very impressive to hear. The snap and texture of the snare drum from the next track, If 6 Was 9, was also rendered with more lifelike detail from the harmony than via the Koetsu Black. Okay, next up, Tom Waits' debut album called Closing Time. This is the recent Abbey Road remaster reissue double 45 album. Tom Waits is one of my favorite vocalists. The range of things he's done is actually crazy. He's a superb songwriter with a fantastic voice, although I must say I'm not a big fan of his later works, but his first two albums are my favorite. Tracks like Virginia Avenue showcase fantastic vocals, a really smooth yet appropriately reedy sounding trumpet with the appropriate amount of bite and a tuneful weighty piano. The detail extraction and the presentation of the piano and the trumpet and Tom's voice was exceptional and realistic sounding via the harmony. Via the Koetsu, there was definitely more richness, juiciness, and lushness to the presentation, which some might prefer. But with the harmony, I heard simply more detail and texture throughout the audio band. I also felt that the soundstage layering was better defined with the harmony. The most upbeat, up-tempo jazz song in this album is The Ice Cream Man. This song starts off with that sweet, familiar ice cream van chime melody, and Tom Waits plays this tune on the piano. As the song picks up pace, the harmony kept track of the weight and speed of the piano, the weight of the bass drum, and the lucidity of Tom's fast vocal delivery. The tone of the lead guitar sounded energetic with full body, and the pace and rhythm of the percussion work is just perfect for the song. And its weight and impact is delivered with a lot of snap and attack by the harmony. The song ends with the same melody that it started with, that ice cream van chime. But this time it's being played on a celeste, and the sound from that instrument, that solidity of tone and the harmonics makes it sound so heavenly and beautiful. The next album I want to talk about is Beck's Sea Change. Paper Tiger, Lonesome Tears, It's All in Your Mind, Round the Bend are some of my favorite songs on this album. The song Paper Tiger opens with a big and impactful drumming and Beck's deep, smooth sounding vocals. And then comes this wave of beautiful violin and cello from the orchestra. The harmony skillfully unravels all the microdynamics hidden in the song and it sort of weaves it together with the explosive microdynamics as well. The power of that violin and cello came through explosively, yet maintaining every nuance in the delicate guitar strumming work, all in fine balance. Via the Koetsu, the deeper notes from the cello did sound like it had more bass. The instrument sounded bigger, but the harmony extracted more detail and texture, and it was more articulate in the bass. Maybe the Koetsu Rosewood or the other signature models would be a more fair comparison, but the Koetsu Black is the one I have on hand. As for other comparisons, I prefer the balance of tone, detail, and dynamics of the harmony more than my Dynavector XX2 Mark II. And it's quite impossible for me to comment on how this compares to the Rega P10 II, as it's been quite a long time since I had the cartridge on my setup. To summarize the sonic characteristic of the Shelter Harmony cartridge, I would say it's really well balanced between tone, detail, warmth, and dynamics, all in harmony with each other. Please watch my video on the more affordable Shelter 901 Mark III model and my other Koetsu cartridges. I'll post video cards for you upon the screen. Please do let me know in the comments below what is your favorite moving coil cartridge and table tone arm combination that you're enjoying right now.